Hello students, welcome to my channel Easy Studies by Preeti. Today we are going to start the second part of Indian economy on the eve of independence. As in my previous lectures, I discussed about the agricultural sector and the industrial sector on the eve of independence. We saw that there was a very little growth in the economy and there was agricultural backwardness. That means the per capita income was very low, the production and productivity, they both were very low, and there was a very less growth in the national income. And as far as the industrial sector was concerned, there was discriminatory tariff policy and disappearance of princely states. And these industrialists, they also had competition with the machine-made products. And in the later on in 19th century, we saw that there was a slow start of modern industries as cotton textiles and jute mills. And in early 20th century, we saw that iron and steel company Tisco in 1907 it came into existence. Now the remaining part we will be doing in today's lecture, that is the foreign trade, demographic profile, occupational structure and infrastructure will be covered up in this second part. So let's start with our class. So the first topic that we have taken is foreign trade. What happened during the British rule? The British traders, they were given government protection and help, while the Indian traders, they had to wear various restrictions. India's main export items were primary products like raw silk, cotton, wood, sugar, indigo, jute, etc. As we saw that in the agricultural sector, these farmers, they were forced to cultivate these raw materials which were needed for the industries in Great Britain. So these raw materials, they were exported from India to Great Britain so that the industries in Great Britain, they can get the raw materials, and when these goods, they were produced in these industries, they used to come in the Indian markets. And one remarkable thing was there, that the export and import, they both were free. No taxes were imposed on them. So whatever the materials that came from Great Britain, it was of cheaper rate. Okay, so it very soon the whole Indian market was filled with British made goods. Now what was the direction of foreign trade? So during its British rule, the Britain maintained almost a monopoly control over India's foreign trade. That means the whole of the India's foreign trade, it was controlled by Britain. There was monopoly, उनका एकाधिकार था पूरे हमारे foreign trade पे. And more than 50% of India's foreign trade was restricted to British, and the rest it was shared to other countries like China, Ceylon and Persia. The opening of Suez Canal in 1865, it was used as a highway between India and Britain. It reduced the cost of transportation and made access to Indian market easier. So it further intensified the effect of British discriminatory policy. Now we will have a look at the Suez Canal. This is the Suez Canal. This is Suez Canal. This red point you are seeing, it's Suez Canal. Earlier the trade route was this one, this trade route. So you can see it was a long one, but after the Suez Canal, earlier the trade route was this one, which was rather very long, and after this when the Suez Canal was built in 1869, the route became less than half. So it was very easy to export to Great Britain from Indian ports. Okay, it was easy. So this route, it made easy the export and import between India and Great Britain. This was the Suez Canal. Okay, so and then there was large export surplus, though means कि export was surplus, बहुत ज़्यादा export किया जा रहा था, but it implied non-availability of several commodities in the domestic markets to the common consumers. It created the problem of scarcity of certain essential commodity in the country. Means all these raw materials, they were exported to Great Britain, and there was scarcity of these things in the Indian market, as you can see. Okay, then obviously if everything will be exported to Great Britain, there will be scarcity in the market, and people will Indian people, they were getting those things. Then export surplus did not bring gold silver in the country, rather the surplus was used to make payments for the expenses of the Indian office set up in Britain. And this export, though the export was surplus, so if export was surplus, then it was quite obvious that much of the country should also get much of the earning, but it was not so. The whatever was earned from that export, it was used to make payments for the expenses of the Indian office set up in Britain, and Great Britain was also involved in several wars. These money, it was also, this income, it was also used in those wars. Now we will be discussing about the demographic profile. So what was the special feature of the demographic profile? Before discussing anything about the demographic profile, we will discuss about the demographic transition year, that is 1921. India was in the first stage of demographic transition till 1921. So what was this demographic transition? This word means that before 1921, population in India, it was never consistent, and the size of the population, it kept on fluctuating. That is, sometime in one census there was increase in the population, in the other census there was decrease in the population. यानी कि कोई स्थिरता नहीं थी population growth में, ना कि कभी ऐसा हुआ हो कि बहुत एक rapid growth नहीं देखा गया. लेकिन but after this 1921, after 1921, population of India, it recorded a consistent rise. So India entered the second stage of demographic transition, and there was a consistent rise in the population of the country. Before that, we saw that it was fluctuating. In some senses it was rising, in some senses it was decreasing. But after 1921, there was a consistent rise in the population of the country. And so that is why this 1921, it is regarded as the year of great divide in the history of demographic transition in India. And then what were the main features of this demographic profile? The high birth rate and death rate. Birth rate, which was nearly 48 per 1000 before 1921, it fell to 14 per 100, or it fell to 40 per 1000 during 1941-50. And death rate, it was as high as 42 per 1000 till 1921, which declined to 27 per 1000 during 1941-50. And the literacy rate, it was also very low, and only 16% of the literacy rate was recorded, and the female literacy rate was even very, it was very less, it was only 7%. Okay, so this is the demographic profile. Then we will be discussing about the occupational structure. Before discussing anything about the occupational structure, there are some points which are to be discussed in this demographic profile. So first of all, the average life expectancy was very low at that time, and it was 32 years in comparison to the present 68 years. We discussed about the literacy rate. Then the health facilities, they were also very poor, and there was widespread water and airborne diseases, and the living of standard of the people, it was also very low. and 80 to 90% of income was spent on the basic necessities, that is the food, cloth and shelter. यानी कि जो उनके इनकम का 90% था वो उनकी बेसिक अमेनिटीज़ में ही खर्च हो जाता था. सो दो वर दे लेफ्ट, वॉज एनीथिंग लेफ्ट विद देम फॉर लग्जरी? ऑब्वियसली नथिंग. तो जब हमारा ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा इनकम हमारी बेसिक नेसेसिटीज़ को ही फुलफिल करने के लिए हो जाता है, देन वी आर हैविंग अ वेरी लो स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग. एंड some parts of India, they were also severely affected by severe famines and million died, and in the example of 1943 Bengal famine. Then I discussed about the transition period, that was 1921. Then we will be discussing about the occupational structure. In the occupational structure, in the primary sector, 70 to 75% people were involved. In the secondary sector, 10% people were involved, and 15 to 20% people were involved in the tertiary sector. That means there was very unbalanced growth. If we consider these points, when we compare this primary sector at that time to other developed countries like Japan, in Japan whatever we are having 70 to 75%, in Japan at that time 12% people were involved in the primary sector. In England 2%, in Germany 4%. That means in developed countries these the role of primary less people are involved in these primary activities. Okay, so and as far as the secondary sector is concerned, in India 10% people were involved, and when we consider USA, England and Japan at that time, it was respectively 32%, 42% and 39%. This is the unbalanced growth at that time. Then when we discussed about the colonial period, agriculture at around, in agriculture mainly 70 to 75% people were involved. In the manufacturing sector 10%, and in the service sector near about 15 to 20% were involved. And there was a remarkable regional variation also at that time. So what was this regional variation? Regional variation, it means that means ki in the Madras presidency, which includes present day Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala and Karnataka and Bombay and Bengal, it showed increased industrial and service sector. And in the other parts as Orissa, Rajasthan and